Let's bring in the National Senator Matt Canavan. Good morning to you, Matt. So let's just start off with the PM. Given the size of his win, does he now have a mandate to press on with his green dream?
Well, look, Peter, I think what the Australian people hope the Prime Minister has a mandate for is to make their lives better. Things are very, very tough in this country right now. I'm not sure if the Prime Minister quite understands that now, because he seems to have been on a permanent victory lap since his election victory. But Australians out there that haven't had their jobs secured for the next 3 years are doing it very, very tough right now. And I would hope in his contribution today that the Prime Minister particularly focuses on the one issue that is holding Australia back, and that's our shocking productivity levels. The Treasurer at least did say something about productivity a few weeks ago. He said it would take him 6 years to fix. Fortunately for him, just beyond the next election to try and get him through the next term. But where is the government's plan to improve our productivity? Our productivity has fallen by 5.3% in the first 3 years of this government. They've never seen a reduction like that. And that is the reason interest rates are higher than they should have to be. It's the reason people's take-home pay doesn't seem to be going very far anymore. It's the reason you can't buy as much at the shops that you used to, or that when you do go and buy the things you want to buy, it's much, much more expensive than it used to be. So where is the government's plan for that? Because I see today the Prime Minister's talking in very vague, big terms like stabiliser and the government should be involved. But how is he going to make people's lives better? That should be the mandate for any Australian Prime Minister.
Well, you make them better by establishing more housing, right? Which is, it's probably the number one issue in the country. And I feel like it's a big part of why the coalition went so far backwards. I mean, there's no real response to creating more housing. So wouldn't that be a priority as well?
Well, it should be. And look, I would say the coalition did take a strong housing policy to the election. Obviously, one of the issues with the housing market is that many of the supply conditions there are under the control of local and state governments, not the federal government. But where the federal government comes into place is going back to that issue I mentioned, productivity. It's costing so much to build things in this country. That has an impact then on the cost of housing, because we need new housing built, but now it costs so much. At the last election, the coalition said we wouldn't add anything more to the building code of conduct. I do think that maybe we should even go harder and further on that. It's ridiculous how many pages now in this building code in this country. It makes, when I talk to builders, makes their lives a complete nightmare. It adds costs to building basic things in this country, and ultimately means young Australians are locked out of the housing market. So going back to that point, I mean, how is the government going to deal with an environment? How's the government going to make an environment more attractive for business, more attractive for people to do things in this country? Because it's only by doing things like building new homes that we will tackle those major issues facing all Australians.
You've got end net zero there behind you, Matt, but the coalition is not going to rush to settle on a net zero policy preference. That's according to comments by Dan Tehan this morning in the Oz. So what's the hold-up?
Well, mate, I've been at this for 3 years now. I've had that sign behind me for that long. I can wait a bit longer. I'll just keep fighting for common sense. I mean, the good news for me, or from my perspective, is that the door's ajar now. The door to end net zero is ajar in the coalition party room. Both the Liberal and Nationals parties have said they will review these policies. So I look forward to that debate. Keep in mind that the coalition has never had a debate on net zero in the joint party room. Scott Morrison adopted net zero emissions as a captain's pick, and ever since then we've never actually looked into it. So I welcome actually having a debate on what is perhaps the most radical proposal ever put before the Australian people. And keep in mind right now that for the coalition as a centre-right political party, we are out of step with every other centre-right party in the English-speaking world. Every other country in the English-speaking world centre-right party has ditched support for net zero. The UK Conservatives doing that earlier this year. The New Zealand Nationals Party government doing it a few weeks ago. This thing is dead. It's over. And the sooner we get off it, the better in my mind. But look, I can wait a bit longer for common sense to prevail.
All right. We'll leave it there, Matt. Good to see you.